It's been said that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I want to get from you guys, how do you keep your leadership skills and chops sharpened? DW?
Well, one of the ways that I keep it sharpened is listening to guys like Glen West and Coach Rucker. And I do that as much as I can. One of the ways, to be just totally honest with you, that I've tried to do that is through our leadership summit. We bring in some of the top leaders in the nation to talk to our coaches about leadership, because we feel like that leadership in high school coaching is more important today than it's ever been. And so listening to those guys as they come in to talk to those coaches about the importance of leadership and what they're doing, those are the type of things that inspire me, and that's and I also do a lot of reading. I enjoy reading books, and I try to read books that teach lessons and teach me and inspire me.
Coach Rucker, what continues to inspire you to lead by example? All these years, and you're still a stand-up man and still doing it.
Thank you so much, Spencer. Toward the end of my tenure of coaching, I was asked by Mac Brown to become the Director of High School Relations and Player Development. What that title, we didn't really know. I mean, it was a work in progress. But what it enabled me to do is it inspired me to be a better person, a better listener, because, the good Lord gave us 2 ears to hear. So I listened a lot to the kids. It put me in a position where those guys, those players would come in and sit down with me. FCA has been a big part of my life since 1967. I had a high school coach in Rex Dockery that sent us to Black Mountain. Thank God for Black Mountain. It enabled me to take my family to Black Mountain. As a coach, and the balance of being a coach and being a father figure and a husband figure, being in that position helped me become a better dad to my daughter, because I would take her to Black Mountain in the summertime. That was our vacation back early on. Back in 1983, I can still see us standing up there at the Assembly Hall at Black Mountain, North Carolina. If you've never been, you need to go. Great experience. But my coach, my high school coach, was a great leader. God rest his soul. He went down in a plane crash in 1983 at old Memphis State, but it was Memphis State, Rex Dockery. But all his ability to coach you was about you being out front. Yeah, you got to follow me, but I want you to be where I'm at, because one of these days I'm not going to be there. I can remember him telling those kinds of stories to us a bunch. But I got to play for a guy, Dow Sheely, who was an old Marine, and Dow Sheely is like a surrogate dad to me. All about leadership. He brought all those skills to the table. And I just guffed them up. But I think today, one of the biggest things that I do, even though I'm not coaching anymore, I go to the American Football Coaches Association convention in the January. I'll go to the high school convention in July here in the state of Texas, where you have 10,000 coaches, and they're all talking about getting better, how to lead. I read. But I'm being truly honest. Been married for 46 years. Got married to a woman at 19, Nancy Rucker. I saw her come from nothing and pick me. And that made me stronger.
I also got married at 19 years of age. I remember standing out in front of Bud Wilkinson Dormitory and told my mom I was getting married. You can imagine what that reaction was. And my dad, who didn't say a whole lot, I remember him saying this, Glenn. He looked at my mother, LaRue, a very tall woman. She's about 6'1". And my dad said, LaRue, that boy's had us as an example. More importantly, he can live a lot better with his mistakes than he can with yours. let him do what he wants to do. I never forgot that. Who's been influential in your life? And we'll come back to Coach King.
You know, there's been several. Honestly, and this is truthfully, I'm able to be where I'm at today because of people that have changed my life. Gordon Wood was my high school coach, and really to hear that story, my father was going down the wrong road. His mother was in a mental institution. His father was off on the WPA, and he was going the wrong way. And that coach came into his town, found him in the grocery store, said, "You need to play football because you're big." I can't play. Well, anyway, long story short, he went to college and played football because of that man. Coach Wood hired my father. After he hired my father, he introduced my father to my mother. Then, and after that, I came. And my first name is Gordon Glen West.
That's cool.
Great story.
That is cool. You want to follow up on that?
Well, and just finishing up there, and I'm sorry to get emotional about things that mean a lot to you, but one of the things it helped me do in being a leader and trying to be a leader and following those that were leaders, it allowed guys to come into our home, our players to come into our home. I remember at App State, when I first got into collegiate ball, we lived 2 blocks from the stadium, from the dorm, and it allowed me and Nancy to become sponsors of FCA. So we'd meet on Monday nights in the house. We lived in a little old two-story, built back in the Korean War, 2-story house right there by campus, and they would fill up our living room every Monday night. I go to work for Chuck Reedy at Baylor University back in the day, sponsor FCA. But all those things, just talking about those things, put you in a leadership role, and that's how you balance the kid's life with your own kid's life. And they became your family. Your players became your family too, and so.
You guys all work so hard to be an example out there. Do you remember any context in the game where you lost the capacity to be an example that you've been preaching about and teaching to these kids? And if so, would you mind sharing? As every one of you come with this Cheshire grin on your face, I'm sure there's one. Give us an example when you're on the sidelines, wherever the context may have been, where you lost your capacity to be that example for that moment.
Well, I will not allow a coach to get a 15-yard penalty. I will not allow a player to get a 15-yard penalty. I got a 15-yard penalty, and yeah, that was a
Tell us
moment.
about it.
Well, after it happened, I thought the official had made the wrong call, and I went too far, and kept talking to him about it in not so nice a way. And anyway, I got a penalty, and when the game was over, I saw my oldest daughter crying. She was little at the time, and she thought I was going to jail. She didn't know. She thought that meant I got a penalty, I was going to jail. But it really struck me at that point that, what we say we're going to do, we better do it. We better live it.
That's strong right there, man.
I can honestly say I've never gotten a 15-yard penalty, but I got a 5-yard penalty. I will tell you that story. Rookie coach, first high school job, and all summer long we've been in the huddle with the kids and going through two-a-days and all that. And so it's Friday night, we playing, and we just made a big play. And at that time I was a defense coordinator, and we made a big stop. And next thing you know, I'm out on the field in the huddle. And my head coach says, "Kenny, you can't go on the field." That was funny.
All right, DW, tell us why leadership summits like this are so important and why coaches, and it reminds me of the old iron sharpening iron approach. Why is it so important to be a part of organizations like this and summits like this?
We've been discussing this for the last several months about we feel like the Texas High School Coaches Association is a strong association, and and we're strong because of our members, and we try to do as much as we can for our membership. But sometimes we get to a point that our membership forgets that they need to do as much as they can for the association to help us be strong. We're stronger because of our membership, and our membership needs to respond to a lot of things that we're trying to give them. One of them's the leadership summit. We have over 21,000 members in our association. We have the leadership summit in February every year, and we get about 1,000 coaches that come to it. You know, I would love for 21,000 to be coming to it, and I think when the things that we're talking about in the Head Coaches Academy and the Leadership Summit, in the starting the conversation, all of those things that we're talking about is trying to get our coaches to come together. And if you could imagine coaches coming together and being united on that front of trying to change the culture of a fatherless home, that's a pretty powerful deal. And I've you know, it's like you said a while ago. It's hard to tell an old coach that you can't change a culture, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's part of the excitement, though. That it's hard is part of the challenge and part of the fun.
Yep.
I think. I mean, if you don't go in with your eyes wide open, it's going to be great. Gentlemen, it's been an indeed pleasure for me to kind of engage and learn from you guys. I've been like a sponge, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, and continued success with what you're doing. If I can ever serve you in any way, let me know, and I will.
Appreciate it.
Spencer.
Appreciate
you.
Yep.
Thanks, Spence.
Awesome.